sort of pushing it into a shape to see how I'm going to form this oval and what parts I'm going to cut off. This is my spinalis, and I've got a tri-heart, so I want to preserve this muscle, the spinalis, and the eye. This lip definitely is going to have to come off. So let's start there. And there's still some good meat in there, so I'm not going to throw that away. Definitely want to trim this fat around the spinalis. And you want to trim looking at both the front and back side, because even though you're going to present it with the front, in a section like this spinalis, the judge is going to take a bite from all of that, and you want to see where you have edges that need to be removed. And you have to be careful even of how much fat you cut off, because if I cut more into that fat, I run the risk of that separating there. Keep in mind when you shape the steak, the purpose of that is it's going to cook in the shape that you shape it in. Because the steak runs the risk of separating as it's being cooked, where the fat starts to render, then it pulls apart, what we do is we secure it, and we secure it with these little pins. You see these are used to lace poultry and things like that. And what I'm going to do is go into the areas that I think need the most securing. And I'm going to go here. And I've got 4 pins, so I just need to keep track that I'm putting 4 pins in here. And it doesn't look like it's evenly paced or anything like that, but what I'm going for is not to determine where I'm going to put my grill marks, as some people use these to say where they're going to put their grill marks. I'm using this to secure this steak because it does run the risk of separating. And then I'm going to take the butcher's twine and we're going to go around and tie it off. And you don't want to tie it too tight because you want the steak is going to expand somewhat, and you don't want to have it bursting over the twine, the butcher's twine, food grade. It's one. Then I'm going to go with another piece to secure a little bit lower. The other thing that some people do is to mark where the spinalis is, just in case after you cook it, you can't tell which side is which. In this steak, I think there will be no problem because of the shape. I have here a sausage prick, and I'm using this to help tenderize this steak. I could use a jacker, which is that piece of equipment that you can go and pound, but that would flatten out the steak too much. So I just want to be able to use something smaller that can go into the areas that I need to tenderize. And it's just a matter of going in, not as important to do this section because this is not the taste section. The taste is going to be coming from this upper part, and this will be for appearance of this bottom part. But since this is a practice steak and we're going to have to eat it here at home, I'm going to finish tenderizing. There's not a lot of marbling in this steak. One of the first steps that I'm going to do on my steak is to marinate it. And it's a simple marinade. People use all sorts of different things. I'm going to be using Worcestershire sauce. It doesn't take a lot, just brush it on. This is going to be on there for at least 30-45 minutes before we add the seasonings. Do both sides. Now it's time to put the seasonings on. And I've got 4 basic type seasonings here. I've got paprika, that's primarily for color. I've got my secret steak rub blend. I've got some Big Papa steak rub. And I've got some umami powder, or dashi. And first I'm going to start off by I'm going to turn it over on the back side first, and I'm going to be placing a little bit of the dashi on there. It doesn't take much. Then I'm going to go in with my double secret steak rub. This is where a lot of the salt comes in. And don't forget to do the other side. The sides and the back. And we'll go in with the paprika. And as I mentioned before, that's for color. And I've got my seasoned steak, which I'll let that seasoning sweat on the meat for at least 30-45 minutes before cooking. We've got temp. Okay, minute and a half. Then another minute and a half. Okay, time. I'm gonna (106). Okay, we're at temp. Let's just verify. Yep. My steak has rested. Now it's time to take out the pins. We have 4 in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to cut the string. The spinalis is right here. So we're going to make that cut. That's a heart. How do we do? There's a lot of fat in there, so it's hard to tell, but I think that's more medium rare than medium. So I'm going to have the temp a little higher. Okay, let's see what she tastes like. Yeah, it's close to rare actually. Texturally, the steak has a weird texture. Let's see if this piece is better. Still rare. not liking the texture. It's a cow thing. It's not the way it was cooked. It's just a cow thing. Let's see what this heart. Keep in mind, this is the steak that I thought would be the better one. Texture is the same as the spinalis. But very tasty. I am liking this flavor profile. A couple of things that I do not like about the steak is I don't like my grill marks. I think they could have been more defined, and I think maybe putting a weight on them during the cook might help. The other thing is that paprika does give it a nice color, but I think that the drippings and the juice that come off of it may be a little bit overbearing. I'm not sure how that would go with judges. As I mentioned before, it's not cooked to medium, so it needs to have gone a little bit longer. I think the temp, last probe, I think it was like at 141, and I thought maybe the continued cooking of it would have made it hit about 145, but it didn't quite get there. So, lessons learned, practice cook, and that's what it's for.